Clayton. Hi, Clayton.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hi, McKenna.
Is Lily gonna do it?
Hi.
Hello.
Hi. Hey.
Is Bobo on the phone with Dee Dee?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know. He just left with everything.
Yeah, Dee Dee, we just kicked Dee Dee out of here too.
I think it's a good arrangement that they play together so they don't bother anybody.
I wish you could hear. Hey, Chris.
Hi, I'm the sous chef.
Okay.
Clayton's the executive chef, or I guess you're
Great.
the executive chef. He's the primary chef.
Hi. Hi, Gracie. Hey, David. How are you? Are you guys ready to cook? We have, hey, Lisa. Hi.
Is it Chris?
Well, it's starting now, so whenever you want.
Zachary. Are you guys all gonna make ricotta with me first? I can't hear, Lisa, I can't hear. Are you talking to me, Lisa? Oh. Gracie, is your sound on? Hey, Shmoo. Hey, Grace. Yeah, unmute.
And then we need to gather our ingredients, okay? I'm going to mute this.
Hey, Lisa, I see your mouth moving, but I don't hear you. Hey, Lay. Hi. Hi, Zach. Hey, Bert. Hey, Caitlin. Hi. You can unmute everybody. Hi, Isabella.
Hello.
Hi. Hi, Tim.
Hi, how are you guys?
Good to see you. Good,
Yeah,
how are
thanks for
you?
doing this.
I think, let's see. Oh, no, you're in San Francisco. We have Leilani's in Palo Alto, so I think they might be coming in from the furthest away. Hey, Bern.
Hi, Lena.
Hi.
I decided not to do my workout and instead.
Oh, why?
Don't tell Anne, it's her sister's class.
I keep forgetting to join. Hey, Bernadette.
Hi.
Hi. Good to see you.
I love your setup.
It's pretty elaborate. David has been spending all afternoon setting it up. There are many cameras, many screens. I don't know where to look sometimes.
This is so cool. I love it.
Is it going to be Caitlin or Michael cooking today?
Huh?
Is it Caitlin or Michael cooking?
They're both going to join at the beginning, and,
cool.
and then, yeah, they'll both be here.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. I see Owen's about to get in.
Yep.
Hey, Mimi, can you admit Owen? Ginger? Hey, are you Sophia or Isabella? It's been so long since I've seen you that
I'm Sophia.
You're Sophia. I'm sorry I called you Isabella. Hi, Isabella. Hi, Sophia. Are you both cooking or just Sophia?
Mostly Sophia, but Isabella's going to be kind of helping along. She's going to be the sous chef.
Awesome. Cool. Hey, Sabrina. Hey, Ginger.
Hi, Lena. How are you?
Hi. Good. How are you?
Great. Hey, can I ask you
Avery.
a question?
Of course.
So I realized that we had mild Italian sausage links from Sunbasket this week. I thought I had something else, which is like a pound. But I have some ground turkey that's frozen. I could go ahead and defrost that.
Yeah, if you want. Yeah, you have about 15 to 20 minutes to defrost that. Perfect.
How would
just
you
put
do
it in
that?
just soak it in a big bowl full of like warm water.
Got it. Thank you.
All
right, and Owen's right here, ready to go.
Hey, me. Hi, Vivi.
Hey, and
Vivi, are you gonna make cheese with us today?
Easy, stop it.
Hey, Lena. Hi. Saying hi to me. Oh, hey. Hi, Lynn. Good to see you.
Hi, Lena.
Hey, oh, Kathy. Hi, Kara. Hi. Hello. Hey, Wendy. Do I see Mayati coming in?
Say hi to everyone.
Is that Matthew?
Hi.
Hi, Matthew Che. Patty, hey, Tyler. Wow, it's all my worlds colliding. I love it. All the little kids I've known since you were little have all gotten so big. You can all cook now. That's awesome.
Lynna, can you hear us?
I can hear you.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah. Oh, hi, I can hear you now, Lisa. That was you. Yes. Hi. Hey, Gracie. Is it just you cooking or is Olivia cooking today too?
Everyone's sort of hiding behind.
Oh, hey. Hi. Hi, David.
Hi again.
Cool. Let's see. I think most everyone's here. Hey, Al. Cheers.
Hey, Fred.
Say hi and see if she can hear you.
Hey, can you hear us?
Yeah. Hi, Mayati. I can hear you. Hi, Genevieve.
Hey.
Yay.
Okay, I'm just setting her up, and then I'm gonna get out of the way.
Okay.
Can I bring it down?
Let's see. Are we waiting for anybody? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15. I think I'm missing a couple more. Okay. All right. What time is it? Oh, 5:02. Oh, you guys are so prompt. Okay. So as I mentioned in my email to your parents, the first thing we're going to do for the first like 15, 20 minutes of this class is make ricotta cheese. And does anyone know what a common way, what's the most common form of people using ricotta? What's a dish that people tend to use ricotta in? Does anyone have a guess?
A different one.
David knows. Any kids know? Clara is my executive producer, and if you raise your hand, she will unmute. Let's just unmute everyone, maybe. And then, yeah. Hey, Cameron.
What was the question again?
Oh, okay. Clayton and Diana and Chris have raised their hands. So the question was, what's a dish that most people commonly know ricotta for? What's a dish that people often use ricotta for that you've probably had ricotta in? Okay, I see Avery has her hand raised, and Clayton and Diana and Chris have their hand raised. And Diana, do you guys all want to shout it out? Avery?
Okay. Lasagna.
Yeah, lasagna. So that's the creamy cheese that you often see in the middle. So we're going to make ricotta today because not only can you use it in lasagna, you can also swirl it into your pasta. You can dollop it onto your soup. You can put it on crackers or spread it on bread. So the ricotta we're going to make today is a homemade ricotta that you can make. It's super easy. So everyone get your cream and your milk out and get ready. We're going to move over to our stove in a little bit, okay? What we need 4 cups of milk. So everyone have their whole milk, 4 cups of milk. So go ahead and pour 4 cups of milk into your pot, okay? And then you can turn on your heat too. Turn it up to medium. So I'm turning on my stove and I'm about to pour in 4 cups of milk. If you have a container of milk that's about this size, this is 1 quart. This is 4 cups. So you don't even need to measure. You can just use 1 quart of milk because 1 quart equals 4 cups. Mimi, can you mute everybody? We're going to mute everybody. All right. So we unmuted everybody. We muted everybody. You have to let in. Okay. Okay. So you got your stove on. Hey, Lily. Nice to see you. Welcome. We're just getting started on our ricotta. So turn on your stove and go ahead and get your milk out, your milk and your cream out, okay? If you have a question, raise your hand. And then we have 2 more people coming. So I'm pouring my milk into my my pot that's heating up on medium heat. Hey, Chris.
Hi there.
Hi. Hi, Kaylani. Is that Kaylani or is that Gianna?
This is Gianna.
Oh, hi,
So I'm
Gianna.
going to turn you around and so we can see you while they're cutting.
Okay. So we're just about to make cheese, okay? Did you guys want to make cheese with us first? Just the milk so far. Yes, Ginger.
The ricotta?
And then we're going to add, yeah, we're going to make the ricotta now.
Okay.
So the next thing we're going to add in is the cream. Again, 4 cups of milk into your pot that's heating on medium. And then we're going to put in our cream next. I like to shake my cream a little bit because what happens with cream is that there's a layer of really heavy, thick cream, like kind of buttery cream that sits on top. I like to shake it up first to try to loosen it. And then it'll pour right into your pot. And you really actually want that creamy part. And just to remind anyone, if you have a question, you can raise your hand or you can chat me. I have my executive producer, Clara, on standby, and she will alert me to any questions you have. Okay, and then I'll unmute everyone later. Okay, so go ahead and pour in your cream. So remember, 4 cups of milk, of whole milk into your pot, and then we're now gonna add 2 cups of cream. This is already 2 cups, so I'm not even gonna bother measuring it. Okay. All right, now move over to the stove. So sometimes if the cream on top is really thick, you have to really kind of force it out. So I'm gonna grab a knife here. There you go. Look, this is what can happen to really fresh natural cream. Is you get a layer of this like creamy, like thick cream and kind of like butter on top. But that's gonna go into my ricotta. It's perfectly fine. Okay, so stove. Thank you, May. Okay, everyone have their stove heating up to medium and your cream and your milk combined. Okay. So the next thing we're gonna add is our vinegar. So go ahead and get your vinegar. It can be white vinegar. If you don't have vinegar, any acid should be okay. You can use lemon juice if you have lemon juice on hand, but I'm gonna use white vinegar. And the amount we wanna use is 3 tablespoons. So you can take your tablespoon measure. May I see a chat? Is there a chat? Okay. Okay, you can unmute people now. I'm going to unmute people, so in case you have any questions. Okay, so go ahead, and as your milk is heating, you can start adding your vinegar. And pay very close attention to what happens to the vinegar, or what happens to your milk mixture when you add in your vinegar. It'll start to kind of curdle a little bit. Okay? And that's good. That's what's making the cheese. You can mute everyone now.
I think so. Wait. Look on the instructions.
Okay, so I'm adding my vinegar in. 3 tablespoons. Okay. How's everyone doing? Okay, so the last thing is our salt. So we're gonna add in 1 teaspoon. Take your teaspoon measure, 1 teaspoon of kosher salt. And the reason I use kosher salt is because the kosher salt tends to be a little bit, it's like just the right amount of salinity. It's the right amount of saltiness for when you're cooking. A lot of times when I was growing up, my parents used iodized salt and that was a little too salty, but kosher salt tends to have kind of the best level of saltiness that you want for your dishes. So I'm adding my salt into my cream mixture now. Okay, so everything should be in your milk mixture. Your cream, your milk, vinegar, and salt. And it should be heating up. And then you can take your spoon and start stirring it together. And pay attention to what you see, because you're gonna see the vinegar is going to start reacting with the protein in the milk, and it's going to start to separate. And that's good. That's what you want. Okay. So you can stir it all together. And then we're just going to let it sit there for a couple minutes. And you're going to start to see the curds form.
Auntie Lena?
Yeah.
What are you supposed to are you supposed to see like yellow
The yellow is good. The yellow is the butter. The yellow is the butter part of the cream. So that's a good thing. That's totally fine.
Hey, Lena.
Yeah. Hi, Ginger.
Stir as we go. Is it
Yes.
good?
Now you can start stirring.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm starting to stir now.
Cool. Thank you.
So we're just going to let it cook together. This next step, for those of you who don't have a parent around, this might be a good part to actually have a parent around, because the next step is going to require pouring this very hot milk and cream mixture into your strainer. So make sure you have your strainer ready. Yeah, I can show them. Have your strainer ready, cutting board. Have your strainer ready with your cheesecloth. If you don't have cheesecloth, it's okay. You can also line it with paper towel. But this is my cheesecloth and my strainer mixture, my strainer set up here. And then making sure it has like a big bowl to rest it over. Not too big, but just big enough to be able to drain your ricotta. Okay. So does everyone have their cheesecloth and their strainer? I see Cameron's getting set up there. Lily's got hers. Maddie. All right. Good. Okay. So keep stirring. My mixture is starting to come to a boil, so I'm just turning it down a little bit. I'm going to keep stirring. Okay, so you just want to keep if your pot is too hot, if your milk is too hot, you can just turn down the heat a little bit. Okay. And now, while we wait for the curds to form, does anyone see their curds forming yet? Mine isn't quite there yet, and that's okay. I might add a little bit more vinegar. Any questions? Just keep stirring.
Lena, if we don't see the curds forming yet, do we add more vinegar?
I just added a touch more vinegar. You can. I would also turn down your heat.
Okay.
And then you can just let that kind of sit there for a little while. And then we can move on to the next part before you strain it. Has anyone's cheese started to curdle yet? It's okay. Oh, my video stopped. Hey, David. Oh, my video stopped. Okay, I'm still here. If you can't see me, I'm still stirring. I think if you see curdling, you can go ahead and start pouring it. You can pour it into your strainer mixture and your strainer setup.
Hey, Lena, if it's starting to separate a little bit, but it's not like thick curd.
Yeah, that's
right?
okay. Let it sit a little bit longer in the pot. Small kernels, I would let it sit a little bit longer. Yeah, mine looks like grainy milk too, Grace.
Can you focus on your stove? Oh, thank you.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so mine still looks like grainy milk. That's okay. I think we're just gonna let it sit there a little longer because we can just, it'll probably curl more as we let it sit. Let's move on to the next part of our dinner so we can keep going. So if your ricotta is ready to pour into your strainer, mine is not yet, you can just let it sit there a little longer. But let's move on to making our sausage. Okay, so everyone get your empty bowl to put your sausage in. So I think what I'm gonna have you do first, before I have you touch raw meat, remember with raw poultry especially, raw poultry can have a lot of bacteria. And so what I try to do is I try to handle everything I can that's gonna go into the sausage before I handle the raw meat. So let's have everyone chop their garlic first, okay? Let's have everyone chop their garlic. So I'm taking 3 cloves of garlic and, oh, I have a chat, okay. It said someone has a question. Oh, okay. So take your garlic. If you have a bowl of garlic, you can take your garlic and start breaking off 3 cloves. Okay, cutting board. Yeah, there you go. So, and I have a garbage bowl here. So my garbage bowl is where I'm gonna put my garlic peel, the papery part of the garlic. So go ahead and peel off 3 cloves of garlic, or 4. I think my recipe said 4, as much as you want. You can put in 4. I'll put in 4. So go ahead and peel off this garlic here. And let's use your cutting board and your knife to crush your garlic, okay? So you can see here I have my knife. So I'm gonna move this out of the way. Okay, so I'm gonna take my garlic clove, I'm gonna take my big knife, and very carefully, I'm gonna just flatten it, just smash it down like that. And do the same with all the garlic cloves. So it should look smashed. And what I'm doing when I smash is I'm trying to make it easier to peel off the paper. See, when you smash it, it makes it much easier to peel off the paper, and also makes it easier to chop your garlic because the garlic isn't rolling around all over the place. Okay, so I'm getting my garbage bowl, and I'm putting my garlic in. I'm sorry, the garlic peel in, not the garlic, because we want to keep our garlic. So go ahead and peel all your 4 cloves of garlic. I have a big clove here, so I'm just going to count that as 2 cloves. Okay, I'll go a little slower. Okay, so go ahead and peel your garlic. If it's not smashed enough, you can smash it again with your knife. Be very careful when you smash it. Everyone peeling garlic? If you're done peeling garlic, you can go ahead and peel some more garlic and just set that other garlic aside. We only need 4 cloves for this sausage. But if you're done already and you want to keep peeling, you can. Because we're going to need a total of about 7 cloves of garlic for this dish. So if you're done, great. You can keep peeling. If you're not done, it's fine. We can wait. So just peeling garlic and smashing it as you peel it, as you take it off the clove of the bulb. You see Cameron already cutting.
Hey, Lynna.
Yeah?
My ricotta is starting to simmer or boil a little bit. Should we turn it down or do we just keep it like that?
Go ahead and turn it down. Go ahead and turn your milk down, your milk mixture down. And then keep peeling garlic. And then every so often you can turn to your ricotta mixture and kind of give it a stir and see how it's doing. Mine still looks like rainy milk too. It's very interesting.
Lena, can I ask you a question about that?
Yeah, Ginger.
I was just looking at the only other recipe from which I've ever made this.
Yeah.
It's Ina Garten, and she has us put in the vinegar after it's boiled. Is there any downside to adding more now that it's boiled?
I don't think so. Okay. It might taste a little bit more vinegary, but you can also rinse it too after in the cheesecloth. But I might add a little more vinegar just to see what happens.
Or is it just that it needs to like sit? I just don't know why it's not as curdly.
Yeah, mine isn't working either. Mine worked earlier when I tested it, but let's just add a little bit more vinegar and see what happens. We'll figure out a way to salvage this.
Stir it in or let it sit for a little bit. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take it off.
Very interesting why it's not, mine isn't curdling either. Okay, so how's everyone doing with their garlic? I see some people chopping already, that's great. So those of you who are ready to chop your garlic, what I often do is do you see on the garlic, some of the garlic cloves have like this like brown end, kind of this hard brown end. I like to cut it off. I just cut that little bit of brown off just because it's kind of hard and maybe not so nice to eat. It's edible. It won't hurt you. It's not dirty, but I just don't think it looks that great. And so I just tend to like to cut it off. Not everybody does that, but I just cut it off. So you can do that. And then go ahead and chop your garlic. Chop 4 cloves of garlic very fine. Okay, I see Zio's here. Hey, Zio. Hi. Welcome, Zio. Good to see you. Hey, Zio, so we're just chopping garlic right now for our sausage. We're just making the sausage part of our dinner. So if you're near your kitchen, and hey, Rodrigo, if you're near your kitchen, you can go ahead and start chopping garlic. Because if you're gonna make sausage with us, we're gonna use garlic, quite a bit of garlic in it. So I'm just asking everyone to chop up 4 cloves of garlic, 3 or 4. This is a super forgiving recipe. If we were professional sausage makers, we could make this sausage mixture, and we could put it into like a casing to make sausage like this, the links of sausage that you're used to seeing. But right now we're just gonna make what's called bulk sausage. And this is the kind of sausage that you can saute and put into your pasta. Okay, so go ahead and take your 4 cloves of garlic and just chop it really finely. So I'm gonna move so you can see my cutting board. I'm gonna take my garlic and take my knife. And if it's already smashed, that's great. Because the smashing it makes it easier to chop. And just mince it really fine. So when you hold your knife, you want to make sure you're holding it at the handle part, not too close to the blade, and not too close to the end, but right in the middle, and feel like you have a really good grip on it. And then when you're holding your whatever you're cutting, so this little piece of garlic, make sure that your fingers are far enough away from your blade so that you don't cut yourself, okay? So I'm just holding my knife like this and just kind of rocking my knife back and forth across the cutting board against the garlic. So I'm taking my other piece of garlic, I'm just chopping it, slicing it very thin. And you can see, if you have a good sharp knife, it'll start to get chopped into little pieces. Yeah, my ricotta isn't quite curdling. I don't know what happened. Okay, so keep chopping garlic, 3 or 4 cloves of garlic. And as you chop it, you're gonna put it into your bowl that you're gonna mix your sausage mixture into. You know, another trick, if you don't like chopping garlic, some people I know like to use a microplane, and I'll show you this tool I use sometimes too. Here's another tool I use. Cutting board is fine. There, yeah. So this is called a microplane. And this is a fun way to kind of grate garlic if you don't feel like chopping. Sometimes I'm lazy and I don't feel like taking out a cutting board. So I'll take this little microplane that has all these little teeth on it, and then I'll just grate my garlic across it. You can do that too. But today I thought we would practice chopping garlic. Okay. So, everyone chopping garlic yet? What's everyone doing? Yeah, I see a thumbs up from Caitlin. Shmoo, are you all done? Yay, Shmoo's done. Okay, Sabrina, Avery, cool. Mayati, excellent. Cameron, Kara. Okay. Zio, take your time, Zio. You joined us a little late, but you can totally catch up. It's easy. So once you've chopped your garlic, go ahead and put it into your bowl that you're gonna mix your sausage into. So I'm just gonna very carefully scoop up the garlic with my knife and just wipe it into my bowl. Okay. So your hands are not contaminated with meat yet, right? So let's go ahead and also add in your ground fennel. So those of you who have ground fennel, you can, this is, oh, does anyone have a question? Okay, so Zio, keep going, keep chopping. I'll slowly talk about the next step. So this is ground fennel, kind of smells like licorice. And I know a lot of people don't like licorice, but for some reason, fennel and sausage and mixed in with garlic makes it taste really good. So what the fennel seed looks like is that it looks like this little tiny green seed. I'll show you what it looks like here. You can see it right here. That's what the whole seed looks like. Some of you had it already. Some of you had to grind this yourselves. So I ground it in a spice grinder, but you can also grind it in a mortar and pestle. And if you don't have, this is what's called a mortar and pestle. It's like a really handy kitchen tool. It's a bowl. This one has ridges inside, and this is a pestle, and you just kind of rub it all together, and it grinds down spices and garlic. So go ahead and pour your ground fennel into your garlic mixture. And you'll need about 2 teaspoons of this crushed fennel, okay? 2 teaspoons. Okay, so the next thing before our hands get contaminated, go ahead and add 2 teaspoons of salt to this mixture of garlic and fennel seed. I'm adding 2 teaspoons of salt. Just right in, okay? And if you want to add in some crushed red pepper flakes, you can add that too. So what should be in your bowl at this point for your sausage is garlic, your chopped garlic, your 2 teaspoons of crushed fennel seeds, and 2 teaspoons of salt. And if you want to use the red pepper flakes, you can use that too. Nice. How's everyone doing? Got your spices in? I see Tegan adding salt. How much red pepper flake? As much as you want, maybe a teaspoon. I think that should be enough. As spicy as you want it. I'm gonna add, let's see. I'm not even gonna measure this. I'm just gonna put it in my hand. So I'm just gonna put in a little bit. You don't have to. I'm just gonna put in that much because Dee sometimes doesn't like too spicy, but the rest of us do. So I'm just gonna add my crushed red pepper flake in. Again, this is optional. You don't have to put in red pepper flake. Kara has a question. Kara, can you unmute? Kara?
Our ricotta's still not curdling.
I know, mine isn't either. I think it might be the temperature. I don't know if I might have boiled mine too high, because that happens sometimes. Can you move it to the stove, maybe?
Wait, were you supposed to be doing the ricotta too?
I started with ricotta. My ricotta is not curdling. I don't know how everyone else's is doing. Anyone else having success? My ricotta still looks like grainy milk.
How do you make the ricotta?
Oh, the ricotta. Who's asking me that? Zio. Oh, Zio, sorry. That was, it was at the beginning, it was milk and cream and vinegar. I emailed your parents the recipe. Mine did not turn out. Mine is not turning out right now. It may have, other people's may have, hopefully. I think my mistake that I did, can you focus on me? My mistake, I think, is what I did was I let it come up to too high a boil.
Why don't you do it?
Has anyone had any success with their ricotta? Did anyone's ricotta come out? Thumbs up.
Ours
Anybody?
ours looks like a really thick milk, right? It was curdling at the beginning, and then we kept turning down the heat, but now it just looks like really thick milk.
Yeah, that happened to me too. I think, David, can you see if there's a way to salvage it? David, my other executive producer is researching how to salvage it. Zio, so Zio, I'll send you the recipe. Your parents have the recipe for the ricotta.
I already have it. Yeah.
Oh, you have it. Oh, perfect. Okay. So let's move on to the rest of the sausage then. So everyone have their spices and their garlic all set up inside in their bowl. Grace, you're not sure if your ricotta is right. I think what happened was I overheated mine and I messed mine up. Grace, how about you? What is yours? What's your concern? Can you unmute, Grace? Oh.
I just don't know what it's supposed to look like. So,
it's supposed to look like curds, like what? Yeah, can I see what yours looks like?
A little bit curdly.
Yeah.
Bigger.
You can try pouring some of that into your cheesecloth and see what happens. Can you move it again? Okay. Everyone ready for the next step? We're about to handle raw meat, okay? So what I recommend is you push your cutting board away from where this bowl is going to be, because put it on the cutting board, because we don't want any of the raw meat right now to touch the cutting board, because we're going to use it later to cut some onions, okay, and your vegetables. So let's go ahead. Oh, and before I do this too, let's go ahead and have you also start filling a big bowl with water. Okay, so while your hands are still clean, fill a big bowl with water. So we're gonna use this to wash our vegetables. If you haven't already washed your vegetables, like I haven't, go ahead and fill your bowl with water. And I'm gonna use it to wash the kale that we're gonna use. Okay, so I'm using kale. Some of you might be using chard. Any hearty green is fine. So I'm using this red curly kale. Okay, so go ahead and fill your big bowl with water while your hands are clean. And then you're gonna take your green vegetables. Okay, here's my big bowl of water. I'm gonna put my kale in it. I'm just gonna soak it in there, okay? And you could be using chard, you could be using broccoli, broccolini, broccoli rabe. Okay. So I'm putting in my second bunch of green vegetable. You don't have to use two, you can just use one. So go ahead and start washing your vegetables.
Thank you, Lena.
Yeah. Hey, Cam.
You want the stems?
Yeah, keep your stems. If you're using chard, go ahead and keep your stems. I'm using kale, so I'll teach everybody how to strip the kale off of or the stem off your kale. But if your chard, the stem of the chard is generally tender enough to just eat and saute in. Okay, so let's just let your vegetables sit here for a little bit. Let it soak. Okay, And now let's do our sausage finally. So take your bowl, move your cutting board aside so that it's not in the way. And then we're gonna go ahead and take your package of raw meat. So Ginger, hopefully your turkey is defrosted some. I'm using raw turkey also. You can be using raw pork, but I decided to use turkey today. And you're just gonna dump your sausage or the turkey or the meat that you're using into your bowl of your spice mixture. So here's the next step. You can mix it together two different ways. You can use your hands or you can use a spoon. So go ahead, it's your choice. Use your hands or use your spoon. Yeah, go ahead, dump it in, Zio. And then just toss the plastic bag into the trash. Make sure it's not touching anything that might touch food. So if you're gonna use your hands, since your hands are clean, you can use your hands to mix everything all together. Or you can use a spoon. Okay, so I'm gonna use my hands. And just mixing, incorporating in all those spices and the garlic that you used earlier into your meat. It's kind of cold, huh? Kind of cold and a little slimy, but it's okay, because it's not gonna taste slimy and cold. You're gonna cook it up, it's gonna taste so good. And now you can tell everyone you've made your first sausage. Okay, so mix it all together. Make sure you don't see any big clumps of fennel seed or salt. It should get all incorporated in. Okay, make sure you kind of get to see that there's no more spice mixture on the bottom of your glass, of your bowl. Awesome, I see everyone mixing. Zio, are you kind of grossed out because it's so cold? Okay, Cameron, are you done? If you're done, if you guys think you're done mixing your sausage, go ahead and set it aside. Okay, set it aside from where you're gonna be working. You can put it on the stove if you want. You can put it next to the stove, because the next place the sausage is going is into your hot pan. Okay, so I'm gonna put my sausage bowl, my sausage mixture next to my stove. And then I'm gonna go wash my hands in warm water with lots of soap, okay? So go ahead and put it on me, Lynna. So I'm gonna put it next to the stove, my sausage mixture next to the stove, and I'm gonna go wash my hands. So everyone wash your hands with warm soapy water when you're done mixing. We'll still be here when you come back. Awesome. How's everyone doing? Sausage done? Can I see a thumbs up if your sausage is done? Zia's done, Lily's done. Excellent, Tyler and Maddie, Gracie and Olivia, Kara, Cameron, your sausage done? Olivia, Lee's done. Shmoo, y'all done? Zach, Caitlin's done. Sophia, McKenna, Clayton, and Mayati. Yay, okay. So your hands are clean, right, everybody? Hands clean? Okay, so the next thing we're gonna do while you still have clean hands, we're going to take your pasta pot. Okay, Mimi, can you put it on? Yeah, pasta pot. Make sure you have a big, deep pot to boil your pasta in. So I'm using a pot that's pretty deep because we're gonna be boiling 1 whole pound of pasta. Okay, so go ahead and start filling it. Don't fill it up all the way to the top. You want to make sure there's room for your pasta and room for the water to kind of move around a little bit. So I'm going to fill it up to maybe about like 3/4 to 2/3 full. So maybe about to this line here. So not all the way to the top, because that'll make it harder to carry too and make it harder to lift your pasta. So just put it in enough water, just about 2/3 of the way to 3/4 of the way. Okay. And then once you fill up your water, your pot, put it on the stove, put a lid on it, and then we're gonna turn your heat up to high. Nice work. Okay, so here's my pasta water. I have it about 2/3 to 3/4 full. Putting it on the stove next to my ricotta, but that did not turn out for me either. I'm very sorry. I think I owe you all a quart of milk and some cream. Okay, so you guys ready for your next step? Okay, so your pasta is gonna be on the stove. We're gonna add salt to the pasta. So the thing with boiling pasta is you wanna make sure that you're boiling it in water that has lots of salt in it, because the salt is gonna flavor your pasta. It's actually gonna give your pasta more flavor. You never wanna boil pasta, like Italian pasta, in water that is plain, because it's just gonna taste watery. It's not gonna taste as good. So make sure we're gonna salt your water after it comes to a boil. So I'll salt the water with you later. I'm gonna use this kind of wagon wheel shaped pasta. It's called Rotel here. Does everyone have their pasta? Okay, good. I see Zoe, I see Avery's got hers. Yay, Penne. Excellent. Zach, what do you have? Let me see your box. What do you have there? Oh yeah, you have penne also. Excellent. Mayati? Oh, penne? Okay, lots of penne out there. And Lily, and okay, it looks like everyone got the same pasta. Campanelle. Ooh, Owen. Cool. Excellent. Okay, McKenna, got your pasta too. Great. Okay. So depending on the brand of pasta you have, it might take between 8 to even 12 minutes to cook. So just make sure you pay attention. Take a look at the package and see how long it'll take to cook. So this package says it's gonna take about 10 to 12 minutes. I'm gonna start checking it at around 8 minutes. Mayati, do you have a question? Oh, 1 pound, just 1 pound. For this recipe, we just need 1 pound today, yeah. Should the ricotta still be on the stove? Mayati, you can take it off the stove. I've taken mine off. I don't know what's gonna happen to it. I'm afraid I may have overboiled mine. So I don't know if I can salvage my ricotta.
The mixture tastes good. The ricotta mixture tastes good. It just looks like very thick, cream.
Yeah.
Lena, I tried putting a just like a spoonful of it through, and I got something.
Yeah.
There's liquid in the bottom of the bowl.
Okay.
But I don't know.
Why don't we do that? Let's do that. Yeah. So kids, if your parents are around, can you please ask them to help you pour your ricotta mixture, whatever you have, into the cheesecloth? We might as well, right? We might as well see what we can get from this. So have your parent, or if you feel comfortable, if you're like Zio and Olivia Gracie, be very careful. Olivia Lee, carefully pour your ricotta, your milk mixture into your cheesecloth strainer. Let's just see what happens. So not all of it may fit at once. Okay. That's okay. You can just pour it in in intervals.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, you can see like mine kind of looks like that. It's like little tiny curds. I think it's gonna start to drain it. We'll get something out of this. It's not as prolific big curds as I would have liked, but Lily's turned out well? Lily? Yeah? Okay. Well, let's let our ricotta drain for now. Okay?
But I'm
okay.
Just because there's some at the bottom already. Just put that to the side so that something.
Any questions? I can smell it. I can actually smell the creaminess of the cheese. Yeah, okay. So as your water is coming to a boil, let's go ahead and cut our red onion next. Oh, actually, sorry, never mind. Let's process our green vegetable first because we're gonna need to let the vegetable drain. So those of you who've already have your vegetable soaking and your who are washing your vegetable, go ahead and take your colander out. Get your colander ready. This is my colander. This is my colander. I'm gonna set it over my sink here, or set it nearby. Actually, I'll just set it on the I'll set it on the counter really quick. Here. So I'm just gonna so I'm using kale, and kale has a really thick stem that I don't really think I want to eat in my pasta today. So I'm gonna strip it off. Strip the leaves of the kale off the stem. And what I do is I just hold my kale from this end, and I take my other hand and I just zip it off. Sometimes it breaks in half and it's fine. And you just put it into your colander. Go now.
I have a question.
Yeah.
For the curd, for the stuff that we've already strained, do we dump it out?
Yeah, you can dump it out.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome, Tegan. So go ahead and take your stems. You can set it aside or put it into your compost bowl and just start taking the leaves off of your kale if you're using kale. If you're using chard, you don't need to do that. Zio, I see you're using lacinato kale or dino kale. That's the same technique. You got it. Take your leaves off the stem. You don't have to get every tiny bit off, but just and even if you still have some stem left over, it's totally fine. The stem part of the kale at the top tends to be more tender anyway. This part tends to be more tender, but it's the bottom part that's a little bit stocky or a little woodier. So that's the part I'm not gonna cook into our pasta today, okay? So I'm just taking my leaves off the kale stems, just like that. And what's gonna happen after this is once we put all of our kale leaves onto our, we've stripped it off the stems, we're gonna put it into the salted pasta water. And we're just gonna I'm just gonna blanch the kale really quickly because it takes a little longer to cook. So I'm just gonna blanch it really quickly so that it gets a little tender. You don't have to. If you have chard, or if you have spinach, or if you have, say, like a more tender vegetable, you don't need to do that step because it'll be tender enough already. You don't need to blanch it. So I'm teaching you another technique called blanching. So blanching the vegetable is for vegetables that are takes a little longer to cook, but you just blanch it, meaning you just put it into hot water for like a minute or two, and then that makes it tender, and then it makes it cook faster.
Ricotta actually like ricotta.
Auntie Lynna?
Yeah.
If we're using chard, do we take off like this part of the stem?
No, if you're using chard, keep your stem. If you're using chard, you don't have to take it off your stem. For prepping the chard, all you do is wash it and drain it right now. You're not gonna have to blanch it. So if you're using chard, no need to blanch. Only if you're using kale.
But if we're using chard, do you want us to have it chopped, or are we going to kind of rip it up in small pieces like you're doing with the kale?
You'll chop it. Yeah, you can chop it right now if you want. Just chop it into strips.
How long do we drain the ricotta for?
How long do you what? Sorry, I can't understand. Say it again.
Drain the ricotta.
Oh, well, that's gonna be kind of just as long as it's once it starts to become thicker for you and thick enough for you to start scooping it with a spoon. So let's just let it keep draining for a while. Okay.
Excuse me, Auntie Lynna?
Yes. Hi, Clayton.
How big should we chop our chard?
Okay, let's pretend this is chard. Okay. I would just cut it into strips. It doesn't need to be perfect. Into like ribbons, just like that.
Okay, so you can
kind of like.
Okay, thank you.
Like that. Kind of like that size leaves. Okay.
Lynna, sorry, I missed it. How much salt do you put in the pasta water?
Oh, you don't have to put in the salt just yet, not till it starts to boil.
Okay.
Yeah. How's everyone doing with their vegetable? I'm still working on my vegetable. Some of you are done. Awesome. So those of you who are done, hang tight for just a little bit while the rest of us finish processing our kale. The next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna chop our red onion. So you can go ahead and get your red onion ready. Okay, how's everyone doing? Let's see. Avery still working. Sophia, you're still working on your vegetable?
Cheese? Do we have for the cheese, since there's like the liquid, do we pour out the liquid since it's getting
you just pour off the liquid.
So for the chard, do we chop that too?
I'm sorry, say that again?
If we're using chard, do we chop it like what you're doing with the kale?
Yes. If you're using chard, you chop it the same way that I just showed the kale. If you have kale, you don't have to chop it yet. We can chop it later. How's everyone doing? Everyone processing their vegetable? Okay, so I'm still stripping leaves off. I'm almost done. Okay, so if you have chard, you can go ahead and cut it into strips. If you have kale, you can just leave it in your colander to drain, because what we're gonna do next is we're gonna take it over to the hot water and boil it, but not quite just yet. We'll just do the onions first. Okay, so those of you who wanna move on to red onion, we're gonna do the red onion next. Meet you back at your chopping board. I did two bunches of chard. What?
Excuse me. Is it okay to use shallots instead of red onions?
Absolutely, yeah. And you can even use yellow onions. If you don't have red onions, perfectly fine. Okay. Everyone's cutting board clear to start chopping your red onion? I'll walk you guys through that. I'm gonna move my water here. Okay, great. So, go ahead and clear off your workspace. If you have bits of garlic around, we're gonna, if you have, no, if you have water left over from your kale, you can use it to water your plants, or you can just dump it out. Any other questions? Oh, Olivia Lee, you all done? Okay. All right. So my cutting board's clear. I'm going to cut my red onion. Lily's already excellent. So let me just walk you really quickly again through cutting this red onion. So this red onion has two ends to it. You want to get your garbage bowl ready. Okay. I have my garbage bowl here. So this end here that has the root, it has like the rooty part, And then the stem part, we're gonna cut off both of those ends right now. So that's the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut off the end of my red onion on both sides. Be very careful because it rolls around. And then just peel the red paper off, peel the red skin off of the red onion. Okay. I'm gonna warn you, some of you might cry because when you peel an onion, it can make some people's eyes really teary. It makes everybody's eyes really teary. Okay. Everyone peel their red onion down to where there's no more of that paper left. Okay, so my red onion looks like this. I have this 2 flat ends, which is exactly what I want because what it'll help me do is it'll make it easier for me to cut. Great peeling, everybody. Take your time cutting your, peeling your onion. And then when you have it done, you can go ahead and just put it rest it on your cutting board. And it's all flattened, so it won't roll around anymore. See, if you roll it around, if you put it on the round side, it just rolls, but you just want to keep it on the flat end. All right, great. So take your knife and cut it in half. Okay, and then set it down on the flat end again. And we're just gonna do a rough chop. Okay, cut your onion in half. Very good, everybody. Okay, there's a chat. Nina, we are dropping off. Oh, okay, May, yes. Bye, May. I know you were here just for the ricotta. Thanks for staying as long as you did.
There's nothing else we have to do, right?
What?
There's nothing else we have to do to it. We can just eat it?
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
Put some salt and pepper and olive oil on it.
Okay. It smells so good.
Okay. Bye. All right. So, ready to chop your red onion? Okay. So here's what I'm going to do first is I'm going to score it. I'm just going to cut some, I'm not going to cut it all the way through to the end. I'm just going to cut to the edge. So not all the way through. I'm just going to cut these little lines, like maybe like a 1/4 inch thick. So I'll show you how thick it is. Like I'm just going to show you like this thick. Okay, but don't cut all the way through. Keep your onion attached. I'm just going to cut these little lines down the onion. Again, make sure you're moving your hands away from the knife blade so you don't cut your hands. How's everyone doing? Did we lose Mayati? Mayati still there? Okay, all right. Oh yeah, there she is. Hi, Mayati. Okay, good. So just cut your onion down with these lines. It's okay if you cut all the way through. Okay, and then you're gonna turn it this way. You're gonna cut it crosswise. So you're just gonna get little squares. So the first way you cut little strips, little rectangle strips, and then you're gonna cut it crosswise. You're just gonna turn it. And this way you can cut like squares, like a grid. Okay, you see that? Doesn't have to be the same size. It doesn't have to be perfect because this is gonna all get sauteed into your sausage and your vegetables. Okay, so here's my red onion, my pile of red onions. Go ahead and do that with your second half. And I'll show you again. I just cut little lines down the onion. Not all the way, just to make it easier to cut later. And then I'm going to cut it crosswise into little squares. And then you're going to have the end here. You can just cut it into pieces. Does not have to be even. Does not have to be perfect. Okay. Yeah. Great. Everyone doing okay? You guys are so industrious. Okay. So once you're done cutting your red onion, what we're gonna do next is we're going to check on our hot water. Check on your boiling water. Yes, my eyes are watering too. Not quite as bad as last week when I was cutting onions, but yeah. Somehow red onions don't make my eyes water quite as much as yellow onions do. Don't know why. Not as bad too, Clayton, yeah. All right, Lily. Yeah, good, good knife, yeah. Yeah, it's fine. Okay, everybody. How's your hot water looking? Is your hot water boiling yet, Tegan? Hot water is boiling, okay. Everyone's hot water is probably either boiling or close to boiling. Okay, I'm turning my heat down. Make sure your pot's boiling, because the next thing we're going to do is, oh, it's already 6 o'clock. Okay, the next thing we're gonna do, we're gonna go a little bit over today. Sorry, guys. We're gonna add salt to our hot water. So let me show you what I'm gonna do with my boiling water. Let me show you how much salt I'm gonna add. It's gonna look like a lot of salt. Let me show you. Okay, so here's my hot boiling water. Okay, and then I'm gonna use, again, some salt. I'm using kosher salt again. So I'm gonna put in a good handful, like a really good handful. Like for those of you who know like what half a cup looks like this is about a quarter cup. I'm gonna put it all in. I'm just gonna put it into my hand. Okay, that. So I would say that's about maybe a third of a cup to almost a half a cup of salt. I know that seems like a lot, but what you're gonna be doing is you're gonna be boiling your vegetable in here and your pasta. So you do want it to be pretty salty. The pasta water should taste like the ocean. So you want the water to be as salty as, not too salty, but just salty like the ocean would taste. Any questions? It just takes practice to know how much salt to put in. Okay, so the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna bring your vegetable, if you're using kale, only if you're using kale. If you're using kale, we're gonna blanch our kale. If you're using chard, skip this step. Okay, so just our kale. I'm just gonna, oh, your water, okay, Zio, just turn is your heat up all the way high? Yeah, okay, it's fine. It'll come to a boil pretty quickly. Is it almost there? Okay, just get your vegetable ready, and just, even if it's not totally boiling yet, go ahead and put your vegetable in right now, Zio, it's fine. Yeah, so go ahead and put your vegetable in. Okay, so I'm just putting in my kale. Remember, if you're doing chard, you don't need to do this step. Oh, I just found a stem here. I'm gonna take it out. Okay. Great. Make sure you have your, like a big spoon or I'm using a spider today. This is what a spider looks like. I'm using to push my vegetable down into the hot water. There we go. How's everyone doing? I'm just gonna let it get really green. You can see how your vegetable, your kale turns super green once you blanch it in hot water. Okay, and then I think I left an instruction for you guys to have a big bowl of cold water, ice water ready. Is that, you guys have another bowl ready for your ice, for your, to drain out your vegetable? So take your, okay, so if you put your kale into your hot water, go ahead and grab your ice water, your bowl with ice water in it, and then start scooping out the kale, okay? And again, this is only for people who are doing kale. If you're doing chard, you do not need to do this step. So I'm just adding the kale to this ice water to stop it from cooking right away, because we don't want your vegetable to overcook. Okay, is everyone draining their kale? It's hard to see. Good, I see you, McKenna, awesome. How you doing, Clayton? Good, okay. Is your sous chef helping you? Okay. So go ahead and scoop out all your kale and put it into your ice water bath. Okay, and then turn the heat back up to bring it to a boil, because the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put some pasta in there pretty soon. Okay. All right. So how's everyone doing? Everyone's vegetable almost out of their pot yet? Putting into their ice water bath?
Am I supposed to lower the thing when I'm cooking the kale?
No, you can keep it up to a boil, because you're going to bring it up to a boil again. We're about to put the pasta in.
And how long should I keep the kale in for?
Oh, just for a minute. Yeah. So I'm going to take my colander from earlier and put it on the stove, on the cutting board. Okay, I'm going to take my colander, and now I'm going to drain the water back into the vegetable back into the colander. So over your stove, over your sink. And this is what I have. I have some blanched vegetable in my colander. Again, this is only for the kale. If you have chard, you do not need to do this. Okay. Okay, guys, you ready for our next step? We're gonna start cooking. We're gonna start cooking our onions and our sausage. Okay. So get your saute pan ready. This is the saute pan. I'm gonna move my pasta pot over here. Okay, so here's my saute pan. You want to use a pan that has some kind of ridge, some kind of side, because you're going to be mixing your pasta and your sausage and your vegetable all together. So you want to make sure it's big enough to be able to hold your all your pasta. Okay. All right. So go ahead and turn your heat up to like medium to medium, maybe medium low to medium.
Hey, Lena, can you hold it up so we can see how thick the top is? Okay.
How thick the top.
Well, I'm sorry, I just mean like, it's like 2 inches up the side.
Oh, yeah,
it's not the really big one.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, guys, so you got your stove on the pot? Your pot on the stove? Okay, so go ahead and pour in some olive oil. So I'm just gonna put in about 2 tablespoons. It's just like 2 rotations around the pot. You can put in a little more if you want. Okay, go ahead and just pour in some olive oil. Okay. So, depending on how many people are eating tonight in your family, or how many leftovers you want to have, that's going to determine how much sausage you're going to put in. So if you're going to have, if it's just a family of 4, yes, we'll do that later. That'll come at the end. The garlic will come in at the end. Don't worry about that yet. So we're going to, if you're cooking for a family of 4 tonight, or 3 or 4, I would just use half of the sausage. And then you can save the sausage for tomorrow. It'll sit in your fridge. The raw sausage, it'll sit in your fridge for another couple days. I would just kind of decide how much sausage you want to put in, more or less. You can use half or you can use all of it. I'm just going to use maybe half. Okay, so go ahead and just scoop it in. So you don't have to use it all. You can if you want. I have this much left over. I'm just going to use what's in my pot right now. And I'm just going to put it into the pan with the olive oil. And be very careful, because once the meat hits the olive oil, it might start to splatter a little bit. My stove is on medium right now, Theo. And then just break up the sausage. Just break it up. Not into, doesn't have to be into little chunks, but just like, I don't know, like spoonfuls. Okay? And now as it sautés, I'm going to come over and we're going to add in our red onion next. All right? So go ahead and add in your red onion with the sausage. Good job. Okay, here we go. All the red onion goes in. And go ahead and stir it all together. And then just let it sit here. Stir it all together and then just let it sit. And the next thing we're gonna do while this is cooking, it's not cooked yet, it's still raw, still partially raw, we're gonna start cooking our pasta. Okay, so go ahead and add, if your water is boiling for your pasta, go ahead and add your 1 pound of pasta into your pot of boiling water. Everyone doing okay? Make sure your water is boiling before you add the pasta. And as soon as you add the pasta, make sure you stir it right away so that the pasta doesn't stick to each other. So Zio, I noticed that you have like an artisanal pasta. Make sure you know how long, make sure you pay attention to how long it takes to cook, okay? Because it might take a little longer. Okay. I'm adding in all my pasta. I don't think you can see my pot yet, but adding it all in, and make sure you take your spider and stir it together. Okay, go ahead. What's your question, Sabrina?
How much onion are we supposed to put in?
You can put in the whole onion that you cut.
Okay.
Yeah. Again, make sure you stir around your pasta as soon as you put it in so it doesn't stick. And then once your pasta's in, go ahead and give your sausage and onion mixture a stir. Okay? Your heat should still be on medium. And then we're gonna go ahead and chop up our garlic. So if you have garlic that you have from before that you peeled, go ahead and just give it a rough chop. So I'm just gonna slice it. You don't even need to cut it you don't even need to mince it. You can just slice it. Remember to keep your hands away from the blade, your fingers away from the blade. If this seems like a lot of garlic, you don't need to put in all of it.
Why do we need the garlic?
Oh, the garlic is gonna go into the pasta.
Oh, into the pasta, okay.
Yeah, it's optional, Zio. There's already a ton of garlic in the sausage. I like to use a lot of garlic in my cooking. You don't have to, but you can even just use a couple cloves if you want, Zio. Okay, so go ahead and chop your garlic. And then add it to your onion and your sausage mixture. The garlic does not have to be finely minced. It can just be chopped or sliced.
It goes into the sausage stuff?
Yes. It goes in with the onions.
Lynna, is this different than the garlic from before?
Yeah, the garlic from before went into your sausage mixture.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, this is additional garlic.
Got it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Uh-huh. And then as you're stirring your sausage mixture, make sure you kind of break up some of the bigger chunks. Like I see this big chunk here. I'm just gonna break that in half. Like a big chunk like this, I'm gonna break it in half. And it's okay for it to have big chunks and little chunks, totally fine. And to make sure you scrape along the edges too. Because sometimes some of the onion and the sausage mixture gets into the edge of the pan. You wanna make sure you scrape to the bottom and the edge of the pan so it doesn't get all sticky. So give your sausage mixture a stir and also give your pasta a stir. Scoop into the bottom and make sure it's all kind of cooking up. I just realized I didn't set a timer, so I'm gonna set a timer right now. Hey Google, set a timer for 5 minutes. Okay, so stir your pasta, give your pasta a good stir, give your sausage mixture a good stir. And now we're gonna come back to your cutting board and I'm gonna start cutting up the vegetable. And the vegetable is the last thing we're gonna add to your sausage mixture. Yes, you can add the garlic yet. You can add the garlic right now, yes. Any questions so far? So those of you who have chard, go ahead and slice up your chard. You can chop it up and then just throw it into your sausage mixture right now. For those of you who have a chard, you can go ahead and put it in. If you have kale, like me, put on the cutting board with me, you can squeeze out some of the kale. So squeeze out some of the water from your kale. Squeeze out some of the water, okay? And then just put it into a big block on your cutting board and just run your knife through it. Just like this, just slice it. Just slice it through the block and you're all set. And that can go straight into your pan also. Like just add the kale or add your vegetable to the pan of sausage. Okay, everyone starting to process their vegetable? I'm coming back to my cutting board and I'm doing the rest of the kale. I'm squeezing out the water, putting it on my chopping board, and then just running a knife through it. Okay. All right. And then all of this goes into your sausage mixture.
Excuse me?
Yep.
Are we supposed to save the pasta water for anything, or are we just gonna?
Yes, yes. Don't toss out the pasta water.
Okay.
So what I'm going to suggest is that you take your spider and you scoop the pasta when it's cooked into your sausage mixture, and then add some of the pasta water also. The pasta water is going to season your pasta, your sausage mixture. It'll kind of act as like a sauce. How's it going, everybody? Is your starting out of your vegetable?
Use all the vegetables?
Yeah, you can. It's totally up to you. If you think you have too much vegetable and it's gonna overcrowd your pan, don't add it all. You can just, save it for tomorrow. I added 2 bunches of kale right here because it really shrinks down. The vegetables shrink down a lot. And don't forget to scrape the bottom of your pan because you want to eat, sometimes some of the sausage and the vegetable can get stuck on the bottom. So make sure you give it a good scrape. Okay? And then don't forget to also give your pasta a stir. Just scoop, take your spider or take your slotted spoon and stir from the bottom. It looks like I have about 1.5 minutes left on my pasta. It might need more time. If your sausage mixture looks like it's about done, you can turn your heat to low. If your sausage and your vegetable mixture looks like it's about done, go ahead and turn it to low. Turn your burner off to low. For those of you who like to be adventurous and creative, you can, at this point, you can do all kinds of things to it. Some people like to put in a splash of wine. You don't have to, you can. Some people like to put in some like tomato, or they might put in like a dollop of tomato sauce or something. You can do all of that, or you can just leave it as is. We're about 95% there, guys. Almost there.
Lynna, it's David. Did you?
Hey, David.
Hi, this is great. Did you suggest a splash of wine or lime?
You can. Wine.
What color?
Wine. White would be nice.
Okay.
But red is fine too. It's very, very forgiving. Yeah, Ginger?
Should we also add a little salt to the chard or no?
Not yet.
Okay.
Because what's going to happen is you're going to take your pasta water. Hey, Google, stop. You're going to take your pasta water and use that to season your sausage mixture.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah. So my timer for my pasta just went off. Everybody check your pasta. So the way you can check your pasta, I would turn it down to low and then take your basket, your spider or your slotted spoon or a fork and just try to take one out, take a piece of pasta out. Where am I? Oh, here. Take a piece of pasta out and you can just taste it. So this is al dente. It's still like slightly undercooked, just slightly undercooked, but that's okay. I'm gonna turn the water off of my pasta now. And I'm gonna start scooping the pasta into my sausage mixture. Because what's gonna happen, it's gonna continue to cook a little bit in with the sausage. If it's still a little hard, then let it cook like another 30 seconds to a minute. Yeah?
Yeah, no.
Shmoo, how you doing, Shmoo? You testing your pasta? Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and start adding the pasta to my sausage mixture with my basket or with my slotted spoon.
I think that we should move that into this. Okay.
Okay.
That sounds good.
And remember your sausage mixture is on low right now. And go ahead and add your pasta in. And your pot's gonna get pretty crowded. So be very careful how much you, when you stir it. If you have too much pasta, you don't have to put it all in. You can just put in some of it.
Wait, so we put it into the sausage thing?
Yeah, Yep. Don't dump out your pasta water. Do not dump out your pasta water. That's why I'm having you guys do it with like a slotted spoon or a basket or a spider. Because what you're gonna do is you're gonna pour in a little bit of your pasta water. You can take a ladle, or if you feel adventurous, you can pour it in. I'm just gonna pour a little bit of this pasta water in, like maybe if I'm gonna start with half a cup. And then I'm gonna stir it all together. And the pasta water, remember, was pretty salty. The pasta water is gonna also season the pasta and the sausage. It's gonna make it kind of salty. And it's gonna also give it some, like make it saucy too. My pot is pretty full. Okay, guys. How's everyone's looking? Any questions? So at this point, you can turn off the heat off your pasta, of your sausage mixture. Turn off the heat. If you want to add more pasta water, you can.
Lena, quick question: if our ricotta is on the thinner side, does that make a difference in how much pasta water we're going to add, or not really?
No, not really. Yeah, the ricotta is more of a garnish. How's everyone doing? I see a lot of people at the stove, which is good. And I forgot to add this to your list of equipment, but is to have a serving bowl. I didn't include that in my list, but if you want, you can go ahead and taste your pasta. Make sure it's salty enough. Make sure your pasta feels like it's been cooked all the way through. At this point, again, you can get super creative. You can, if you want, you can zest some lemon over it if you want. Here, you can zest lemon over it with the microplane that I was just showing you earlier. Oh, you don't add the ricotta. The ricotta goes on the table. So not everybody likes ricotta in their pasta, as I know of my family. Yeah.
How much pasta water do you put in?
I started with about a half a cup, but you can put in more or less.
Salty.
Because the pasta is going to absorb that pasta water. Cameron, how did that taste, Cameron? I saw you take a taste. Is it salty enough?
Oh, we're adding a little more salt.
Okay, because the other thing you can add, Cameron, is the pasta water. The pasta water is salty. How you doing, Clayton? Yeah, good. Okay. Mayati, did you taste your pasta yet, Mayati? You did? Is it salty enough?
Yeah.
Good.
I might add a little bit more water.
Okay. How about you, Avery? Great. And Owen, yours is nice and salty. Thank you. Tyler and Maddie, how about you?
You want
is it salty enough?
I'm going to say like how good it is.
Yeah. Hi, Bern. How about you? How you guys doing?
Are we supposed to put in the Parmesan?
Oh, good. Thank you.
Oh, so the parm is something you can also have at the table. You can mix it in if you want. For those of you who have optional, I included optional parsley. If you want to put in some parsley, you can chop it up and add it. So I would have at the table the Parmesan cheese, the ricotta that you can scoop over, and parsley if you have it too. An additional chili flake for people who like it spicy.
You need a little more salt. Do you want to put water or salt?
Yeah,
that's a great. Yeah, I would ask yourself that. You can, if you want your pasta to be a little bit saucier, then add the pasta water.
Yeah. Hey, so Lena, just so you know, we tried because we're not eating meat. A lot of us aren't. We're like from Trader Joe's. They have that meatless ground beef, which we tried with this, and it tastes really good. So
cool.
It worked out really. Just if anybody else wants to try that.
Awesome. Thank you, Vern. Thanks for that recommendation.
Okay.
Yeah, Cameron.
Lemon zest would we add?
Oh yeah, good. To taste. You can that's a pretty big lemon. I would maybe put in just like a half. I would zest half of that. That's a big lemon.
You can also have salad too, but.
Any other questions? How you doing, Sophia?
Yes, is only that out.
Is yours done? I'm good. Sophia, you're good? You're good? Okay. McKenna? You good? Salty enough? Seasoned well? Okay. How about you, Shmoo? I see you eating penne. Let's see. Sabrina's still cooking. Zach,
Oh, nice basket. I see your spider. You used one just like mine. Avery? Okay, excellent. Zia, where are you in your process? You're done? You're putting on the ricotta. Excellent. Okay, guys, I'm sorry we ran over today. What time is it? Oh, it's 6:30. Sorry we ran over. I'll let you guys sit down to dinner.
Thank you, Lynna.
Hi, thank you.
Lynna, thank you so much.
Sure, Karen, serve some cold white wine.
Thank you.
Bye.
Oh, wonderful, Lynna. Thank you.
Bye, thanks. Have a good dinner.
Thanks.
Let us know when you do it again.
We'll do one again.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you.
Hi, guys. Thank you. Bye. Hi. Sorry about the ricotta. Oh, look. Look at this one, Lynna. What? Look at my ricotta. Oh, yay! Winnie! Excellent. Oh, that worked. I'm so pleased. Oh, nice, Sophia. Great. Theo. Oh, Clayton. Beautiful. Theo, what is your... Oh, gorgeous. Yay!
Lynna, how do we add the ricotta? Just stir it in?
You can, it's up to you. You can serve it at the table and just have people put a dollop on their bowl, or and then they can swirl it in themselves, or just have it on the side.
Turn it off. Turn it off.
Bye, Gracie. Nice to see you. Bye, Leilani. Bye.
Thank you, Auntie Lynna.
Bye. Thank you, Clayton. Bye, Chris. Bye, Diana. Bye, Lily. Bye. Hey, Cam. Good work today, Cameron, as always.
Say hi to Cam.
Bye. Hey, Nick. Bye, Lay. Thanks, guys. Thank you. Bye, Zach. Good job. Great job. Beautiful. Yes, that looks just like mine. Awesome. Nice work. Proud of you guys. Beautiful. Thanks. Hi, Deebers. You boob.
Bye, Adam.
Bye, guys.
Bye, Lay. Thanks.
Thank you.
Dina, what do we do with the milk that drained from the...
Oh, you can just dump it.
Okay.
It's pretty tart.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hi, Deebers. Oh, yeah, it's kind of working. Yeah, that worked. Oh, I forgot to tell people there. Hey, Lisa and David. For this, if you still have leftover sausage, just put it in the fridge.
Yeah, I'm trying to talk her into saving some of it.
Yeah, yeah.
It looks so good.
I don't think we're gonna have from dinner tonight, though. We're gonna eat it all.
Yeah. This was the best.
Thank you. It got a little bit crazy, but thank you for keeping up.
Oh no,
thank you guys.
It was so fun. It was so fun.
We're gonna do
thanks.
a tutorial on bathroom renovation. Just a 2-week training.
Okay. Bye, guys. Great to see
Mama,
you.
are we having that for dinner?
Yeah, we're having it for dinner.
Oh no. Hey.
Bye, Gracie. Bye. Bye. Love you. Bye.
All right. Bye. Thank you so much.
Bye. See you soon.
Pete.
Okay, Danae.